out to our daughters. We're raising girls to be wives. But how many men are raised to be husbands? So I'm going to take this a little personal. I've been on every sphere of the relationship circle as far as I've been on every one of them. I was married for the first time when I was 21 because I lost my father when I was 19. And I kept looking for my father in every man that I met. So at 21, I got married, and I'm expecting love and affirmation and, sweetness and somebody who's going to give me a hug when I come in and I can talk to him. And it never happened. From the day I got in that marriage, I knew it wasn't for me. But I had to stay in it because my mom was, she depended on me for a lot of support emotionally after my father died. So I had a son, knowing fully well that the marriage was not what I wanted to be in, but I'm like, okay, maybe after this child, we can build a relationship. We think children make marriages. No, marriages make children. Okay? Don't try to marry someone and have a child because you believe that a child will make you both closer. If you don't have it, you don't have it, period. Okay? Children will only bring out the worst from both of you. Let's put that on the side. Okay. So I spent so many years being with someone who I could not discuss my dreams and ambitions with. I was up there, and then when I got married, trying to validate him. I was trying to validate him, trying to make him believe that I trusted him. I was trying to make him believe that I respect him. And so I gave myself away. I literally dropped everything that made me who I was. I lost myself trying to help a man find himself. And at the end of the day, what happens? Misery. He's miserable because he believes you don't trust him, because he believes you don't respect him, because he believes you're not validating him. Because we're outside and he wants to say something, and I'm like, and he don't get it. And then he gets mad. Okay, why do you have to? I have to speak. But what you're about to say is not relevant at this time. Now, we need to look at the entire picture. It's a system, and we all have to be responsible for fixing it. I see a lot of people here. I'm not sure your marital status. I was divorced for 7 years, and today, Sister Sarah, I'm married to the best. I tell myself and I tell God, I say, if you're going to take my husband, you better take me on the same day. Because this man, I told you, I'm currently in my PhD program, and he drove me. I was scared to tell him that I was going back to school because I've been in a place where I couldn't even say I was going to take CNA classes. I couldn't say I had to hide to take CNA classes. So now how are you going to tell someone you want to go do a PhD? But the moment I mentioned it, he was like, baby, if there's anybody who can do this, it is you. And I went for it. And I got a scholarship. And I'm here today because he's at home taking care of the baby. So you cannot expect apples from a man who's never had apples. You cannot expect love from a man who never saw love. You cannot expect affection from a man who never saw his father touch his mother. If he saw authoritativeness and abuse and the mother still stayed, of course. After all, my mother stayed with my father for 50 years, so why you have a problem with the way I talk to you? So if all that man, I'm trying not to be too into my personal stuff, but I chose to raise my son by myself than be in a relationship where he would not have a good experience of what love is supposed to be. I told myself that this boy deserves better. He deserves to see me with a man that I'm vulnerable to. He deserves to see vulnerability, and that is love. Love is being able to communicate, to commit yourself to the other person, and not being afraid of being judged. You don't just shut down, you communicate. You're vulnerable, you let it out because you want to fix things. Now, you shut down when you don't want to fix things. Trust me, I've been there. My husband right now, I talk a lot. I'll be like, listen, honey, we are not going to do it like this, okay? Let me tell you what happened a few days ago. Early in the morning, we woke up, and I didn't realize I had asked him about whether he liked me wearing short dresses 5 times. I didn't know. So I woke up 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, baby, what do you think about the short dress I wore the other day? And he's like, this is the 5th time you've asked me the same question. What do you want me to tell you? I said, just say yes or no. Like, just whether you like it or not. He said, well, I can tell you that because what you wear is what makes you comfortable. But that's not what I was expecting. And then he literally kept talking and talking and talking about it. And then I'm not going to lie, I felt bad because he didn't tell me what I wanted to hear. Yeah. So it's 6 o'clock. I go in the kitchen. And I'm like, okay. I was really upset. But then I came back to the room and I called him into the bathroom because, the baby was co-sleeping with us. So I took him into the bathroom. And I said, do you know that if I didn't love you this much, I wouldn't care how you feel about what I wear? I've been in a place where I didn't care what he felt about what I wore. I didn't care how he felt about what I talked about. I didn't care because when that bridge collapses, that's it. You shut down. You don't care about communicating. I don't care how you feel about me if I don't care how you feel, really. And a lot of marriages are in that situation. And I hear you talk about marriage counseling. I believe in the nonverbal aspect of communication. There's a difference between good morning, baby, and good morning. There's a difference. But if we both go to a marriage counselor, what are we going to say? I greeted him and he didn't answer. We're not able to express that nonverbal aspect of that communication. There's a truth in marriage, and that's the truth that only you can tell yourself. Not a counselor, not your pastor, not your parents, not your friend. The truth is, are you expecting oranges from this person who cannot give you? Thank you.
For explaining some of the things that I really, really want to get into. Because I want that cycle to stop. I never saw my dad. You know about it. I never knew him until I was 18 years old. And I had to personally ask myself, what kind of a man do I want to be? Now, it was not because I saw a man teaching me what it means to be a man. It was because I saw what my mom went through. I was raised by a woman who suffered to raise me. There is no job my mom did not do. Sell things on the street. She was a teacher. She was a farmer. She was everything. And so I saw a woman who practically lived her entire life raising my brother and myself. And out of that pity, and this is it now, out of that pity, I said to myself, I don't want another woman to go through what I saw my mom go through. And so my desire to have a better marriage came from, no, my mom can't go through this and I'm going to put another woman through the same thing. And so it made me to personally begin to ask, how do I become a better man? How do I become a good husband? So I'm constantly, and this is a fight for me, because the ego is in every man. Every man wants to rule, because God puts in us the ability to want to give others, to want to command, because that's the way he made us. That's the way he wired us. But I needed to ask, what does God mean when he said man should lead? And so I began to ask questions. And that's why I said, if a woman doesn't trust who I am, it will be difficult for her to respect me. And I don't want to put the burden on her to make me a better man. So I don't want Toby to be the reason I'm a better man. I want to be a better man because I want to be a better man. Awesome.
Okay, so generally, like I said initially, based on when you cancel people, that's what men say they want. But what I thought, or what I wrote down, was this, because I don't think a lot of men, this is what I wrote down to share here today. Personally, again, But generally, doing all the work, you hear men tell you, number one thing is respect. I said a lot of men do not know what they want because they do not know what God wants. Okay? Since she went that route, and then I like, this is where you are. So a lot of men do not know what they want because they don't know what God wants. They do not have a relationship with God to know the will of God for them as a man. Now, they have no knowing of their role and their position according to God's plan and purpose because they fail to understand that someone created them and there's what they are created for. And most of the time, because they don't know that, they abuse the dominion that is given to them as the head. So that's another thing. I'm also I was a single mother raising a child. And at a point, I had to make a decision to leave that first marriage because of the same young man, because I have a male child too. And I was like, this is not the picture of what I want him to grow up to see, because this is not the ideal plan of the kind of man I want to see out there. So now I'm raising that child as, God, what is your will? What is it for him? And as a man, what does it take? And to God be the glory, we are in that position. But that is what I think a man should know. And we don't have that mostly in homes when we have boys.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Contributions. So now we have seen trust, respect, peace. And somebody said that summarizes everything. And I heard you. That was real. That was straight from the heart. And yes, most men don't even know what they want. Not most men, I take that back. Some men don't know what they want. But I still want you to say to us this evening, what do you think men want? Because now we talk about these things, and I want to mention this. For us who are believers, we hear a lot of sermons every Sunday, every Wednesday, there's so much. Some people are not believers. Now, this talk show is not only for believers. So we can't even just assume that they are hearing the word every, we can't even assume. But talking about people, human beings generally, men generally, And even for us who are believers, the pastor stands behind the pulpit and the ministers as a man of God, anointed. But when he leaves that place and gets home, he's a man. What would you say a man needs? Thank you very much, Pastor Sarah. So, I'm sorry. My apologies. All right, so thank you so much. In my experience, now I'm going to back up a little bit. What a man wants depends on the phase that he is in life. I heard you say, and when we were growing, in fact, you were told that a man wants sexual intimacy. I wasn't told that. I was only told that the way to a man's heart is through his mouth, into his stomach. Okay, so every other thing doesn't matter. So, but let me tell you what. That depends, okay? If you're married to Jeff Bezos today, he don't care if you cook. Right? Okay, so we were raised to believe that we have to be in the kitchen. Let me tell you, one of my uncles wanted to get married one time, and they brought this girl to him. And this lady swept the whole compound. I'm talking about like 3 plots of land. Wow. And she woke up early, and he was irritated. But that was what she was told, that, you have to sweep and keep the home clean. He didn't like that because he could afford to hire a house cleaner. Yeah. He could afford to hire somebody who does laundry and a cook. So, are you necessarily just being a cook or a cleaner as opposed to being a wife? So, at every point in time or in life, I want to put in very quickly. Right. I've heard people say, you are 35, you are still cooking, better go and marry. So you can have someone to be cooking for you. So some people think that getting married means now you have a cook. Now you have somebody to take care of your laundry and pick up your socks from everywhere and, put your shoes where it's supposed to be. But see, that's the problem. Again, that comes back to the cracks, okay? That still comes back to the things that we are not doing as parents. If you're having a 35-year-old who can't cook his own food and clean up after himself, then you haven't done a good job, okay? A wife can be a wife, but she don't fix crazy, okay? A wife don't fix crazy. You better be able to fix your food and take care of yourself, because at the end of the day, a woman, when I married my husband, I went to his house and I saw the way he cleaned up his room. His shoes were organized.
Did he know you were
He
coming?
didn't know he didn't know I was no, well, he knew I was coming, but he didn't know I was observing. His bed was made. These are the things that mean something to me. Because I'm not trying to wake up in the morning and I have to fix the bed every day because you don't know how to fix the bed. Or you come back and your shoes are littered everywhere. I work. I have a lot of things on my plate. I can't afford to be picking up your socks and cleaning up the dishes after you eat. These are basic life skills that
Basic
every
life
human
skills
being has to have. But now we're being taught that it is a woman's responsibility to cook for you, to clean, to do your laundry.
Yeah.
And then you're doing the laundry, you see some shit in his pants. I'm sorry to say that. Okay?
Yeah.
We got to keep this real.
Yeah.
A lot of men were, I teach my sons how to wipe their behind. Because I'm tired of seeing. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable. Okay, we're trying to keep this real.
Keep it
We're
real.
women, we're mothers. If there is a change that we desire to see, it starts with us. We have to raise our sons right. Let them cook. Let him clean up the house. Let him do laundry. Now, God might bless him and he marries a woman who knows how to do all those things. That's just an extra. That's just an addition.
Right.
Okay, so what do men
So,
want?
men, from my understanding, want emotional and spiritual security. When a man believes that he's emotionally secure in you, then he's able to be vulnerable. And when he's vulnerable, he brings out everything in him. He brings out love. He brings out attention. He gives you everything that you desire because he knows that you will accept it. He knows you're not going to be I'm sorry. You're not going to be critical about it. So a man wants to be emotionally and spiritually stable and safe. He wants to know that you can pray for him. Can you pray? You can't pray for a man you don't care about. I'm sorry, I don't care how much we talk about this. You have to love and trust that man enough to lay your hands on him and pray. And when you pray for him, he's listening to the words you're telling God. He's listening to the words that come out of your mouth to God's ears. Not necessarily what you're telling him, but what you're telling God about him. That is the trust. That is the trust. That is the trust. That is the respect.
Thank you.
That is the trust. That is the respect. When you validate him before God, when you call him your head before God.
Not this man.
Look, I
This
lay
man
my
that you
hands on
gave
my
to me.
husband. When people see me, they're like, how did you marry this woman? Listen, I tell my husband, look, without you, I cannot be. You're the brain. I'm just walking. This is the brain behind everything you see about me today. Everywhere I go, if my husband is there, the first thing I tell them is, I can't be who I am today without this man.
Okay, beautiful. Can I say this? Can I safely say this? Especially from what you have said, that it is easy for a woman to respect a man who has what it takes for her to respect him. A man who has what it takes for a woman to respect him.
A man who is not struggling with identity crisis.
Who has found his identity, who knows himself.
Yes.
Who knows what he wants, who knows where he's going, has
Yes.
purpose.
Yes, and I'm gonna say this real quickly. When
Okay.
I was trying to get married, I had,
Do you have a checklist?
I had a checklist. The first thing is you have to be confident in your own skin. Okay, you have to be confident in your own skin. That way, even if I raise my voice, you don't think it's about you. Even if I disagree with you, it's not about you. It's not disrespectful. If I come up and say, I want to be the president of the United States, I don't expect you to just say no. I want us to talk about it. And that's because you believe that me being the president of the United States does not affect how I feel about you. my growth is not going to be threatening to you.
Exactly. It doesn't make you.
So
any
you
lower.
have to know yourself. And I saw this young boy in church today. He had pierced his ears on both sides and he had some dreadlock. And the question I asked him is, does this make you feel any different about yourself? And he said, yeah, it makes me feel confident. I said, okay, so without these earrings, you're not confident. Is that what you're trying to say? And he said, it just boosts my confidence. I said, it exaggerates your confidence. Right? And he's like, no. I said, listen, let me tell you what, I don't have a lot of time to talk to you, but anything that boosts your confidence beyond the God that is in you, so you have to know yourself in God. We have to start looking for men that know God. We have to start looking for men who have found their identities, who are comfortable, who are not threatened.
Yeah. Thank you so much, it is. That's beautiful. We've had a very wonderful conversation. We all agree this has been wonderful. Now I'm coming to you. Chi. No, smile for me. Smile for me. Now, we have said so much about what to expect, what to look out for, what to do, how to raise our sons, and they are all valid. Now, this is the scenario I'm bringing to you. They are already married. In fact, they met in church. They had premarital counseling. They promised each other heaven and earth. The marriage has been on for about 3 years now. And they communicated. This is what I want. This is where I am. This is where I'm going. So all of those things we teach them, yeah. But now they got there. You know there's a difference between when you are courting and when you are in marriage. So they are now there. And then suddenly he starts comparing her with his wife's friends. I mean, his friends' wives. My friend's wife doesn't do this. Caesar's wife does that. This one and this one, like, you didn't marry, you married this one, you didn't marry. And that was the beginning. And right now, all he says is, she does not respect me because she earns more than I earn. Well, she's like, that's not how we started. And we already talked about all of this. He doesn't want to do anything. He just wants to be the lion of the tribe of their family, And we know how it is. She's at her wit's end right now. What can you say to her?
Good evening, Sarah. Good evening, Miriam, Edith, Remy, and everyone in the audience. Is it okay if I touch a few things and then get to that question? Okay. It's been quite enlightening listening to all of us tonight, but I want to start by agreeing with Edith at first when she said her husband told her that the right way that question was to be phrased is not, what do men want? It should be, what does God want from the man? And for me, she said she wasn't going to say our roles, but I believe, and how many of us are Christians here? Okay, so someone can monitor. It looks like majority of the people here are Christians. So I want to answer a part of that question from the Bible, from Scripture. There are generic things that God put inside us, or God expects from us as Christians. Number one, having love for one another. Number two, submitting to one another. Now, these are generic commands that he has given to us to abide by in our lives. But when it came to marriage, there were specific things he gave to both the man and the woman. For the man, he has a need embedded in him. Whether he's a Christian or not a Christian, there is a need. Every man has a need to be respected and honored. It can look like many things. It can look like trust. It can look like emotional security. But it's respect and honor if you go to Ephesians chapter 5. For the woman, it looks like love, loving her as Christ loved the church. Now, the reason why God put it that way is because these are needs that are embedded in him. The problem we have in our world, which was one of the things that made it look like the conversation was getting too heated, is because we see these commands from God as conditional commands. God did not say, wives, submit to your husbands if he loves you. And God did not say to the woman, submit to your husband if he loves you. And he didn't say to the man, love your wife if. We are supposed to play our role, whatever role God has given to us, irrespective of what the man dishes out to us. And I know it sounds unacceptable. Jesus kept on saying in the beginning it was not so. If I get married to him back there, my mindset as someone, now I'm addressing Christians, my mindset should be, what does God want me to do? God wants me to submit to my husband. QED, finish. Whether or not he loves you. Now that's heavy and it's difficult. God says, submit to your husband. Finish. And God says to the man, love your wives. The problem we're having in church today is the man is refusing to love his wife because she does not respect him. And the woman claims that the reason why she's not respecting him is because he doesn't love her. If we get into marriage focusing on our role as unto God, our marriages will be perfect. Because both parties involved are playing the role that they've been called to play, irrespective of what they are fed. Now, this lady gets into this marriage, as you said. And I say like Jesus, in the beginning, it was not so. If he had come into that relationship to love her anyhow, and if she had come into the relationship to respect him anyhow, this question of